It's the fifth time I tried doing this video. I either forget stuff that I want to include in it, I either feel I'm extending myself too much and trying to keep it short. It is just impossible to do so. So I'll stop trying. I'll stop trying to do a short video and do a good old honest review as much time as it takes so as to get the message through, so as to share the thoughts, the information I feel needs to be shared. And the reason why this is so difficult is that because inside this plain old cardboard box, I feel it's the best survivalist prepper flashlight you could possibly have. If I had to choose just one flashlight so as to deal with any kind of disaster, emergency, large or small, I just don't know what it is, and I could only pick one to deal with an infinite variety of possibilities, possible scenarios, situations, this would be the one to have. And I suppose you'll agree with me in most points, maybe a few not, but that's okay, no problem with that. I suggest you make the time to watch this video. It's gonna be a little bit long. I'm pretty sure it will be worth it. If you are a survivalist, a prepper, you definitely want to watch it because you're going to be sharing, no doubt, many of the things I find. If you work for Streamlight, also do me the favor of sticking around because I have a couple of suggestions that you may want to take into account for another product which would be simply fantastic. It would be a perfect flashlight in my opinion. So let's get to it. Inside this box I have the Streamlight Sidewinder Compact 2. The best survivalist flashlight you could possibly have, in my opinion. And this opinion of mine is based on not only a lifetime, basically, of living with unstable power supply, countless blackouts, power outages, planned, unplanned, days even lasting. You know, life in Argentina, pretty typical of what you can expect of the power supply in South America. It's not only based on that, it's also based on countless hours of research of other people's experiences as well, because you cannot just stick with what you know. You have to learn from other people's experience so as to not just be centered on your own. And that's based on what I'm saying. What you are getting in this box is the following items. Okay, bubble wrap. You have your manual, of course, and in here you have helmet attachments. The Sidewinder Compact 2 is military type of flashlight. So you have a helmet attachment which would work for most helmets. There is a different type of attachment that it's not included here, but it can be purchased for those smaller hockey type helmets. I think that Delta uses, that have like those rails on the side. You also have a head strap for using the flashlight as a headlamp, part of the incredible versatility we're going to be talking about soon enough. You have a CR123A Streamlight battery, and you have the actual Sidewinder Compact 2, which is this flashlight that you see here. Before we even get started on the flashlight itself, a few words on Streamlight as a company. You have to understand that there's a difference between, there's several good brands in the market. You have Phoenix, you have Eagle Tech, which I really like. I've been EDC carrying it for a while now, very happy with it. And then you have other companies that are on another level. Companies such as Surefire, companies such as Streamlight. These two companies are the type that, unlike brands that are specifically targeting civilians, these are companies that have to have a different kind of research and development, but not only that, but a quality control that is way beyond that. They spend hundreds of thousands testing and abusing their products in ways other companies really don't feel the need to. because they have to comply with military standards. If not, they're going to be losing those contracts. They're going to be supplying for fire departments and medical teams. They have a different standard to go by, and that's something which you and I can benefit from. So when you're buying a Surefire, when you're buying a Streamlight even, these are products that have a level of attention to detail in their construction, in their execution, that it's not that common. You know, Olight, a good brand of flashlights, which I've recently reviewed, it is very, very good. But I know perfectly well that Olight, Phoenix, 4.7s, I mean, many of these very good brands, they don't have those requirements. They don't have those strict guidances to go by. In the case of the Sidewinder Compact 2, we benefit from that quite a bit. The construction is extremely solid. This is all nylon construction, very light but very tough. Drop tested to 3 meters, and water resistant to 1 meter for 30 minutes. So it's a very tough flashlight. Polycarbonate, scratch resistant lens. And we have, as you clearly see here, 4 different LEDs. You have the main white LED C4, you have infrared LED, you have a red one, and you have a blue one as well. So you have 4 different LEDs in the flashlight. The materials used already are an indication of what we can come to expect, which is the main thing. You are, besides that, the company itself, the quality of execution, we know it's going to be a very, very tough, reliable flashlight. Okay, that is the main thing you will notice from the start. You also have a clip that allows you to attach, when not using the helmet attachment. Remember, military type of flashlight, when you're not using that, you have spring steel, seems like a phosphate type of finish. It attaches to the head strap, just like that, being very light, even though the shape is kind of awkward, being so light, and most of the weight in the battery compartment closer to the strap itself. It is a pretty decent, actually very good headlamp. If you're going to be using the helmet attachment, once you have this attached to the helmet, you just press against the big hole, push back to the smaller one, and it rotates 360 degrees and 180 degrees, basically allowing any position you could possibly want. The form factor of the flashlight is, as I was saying, it's a little bit awkward, all right? And especially if you compare it to some of the smallest, most compact EDC flashlights that we have around, such as, you know, one of the most compact flashlights around in CR123A, like the EagleTech D25C. You see the size; it's much more smaller. That roll of mints kind of shape drops in the pocket very nicely. So it is a little bit larger than what you would be expecting. At the same time, you're getting quite a bit for your sacrifice in terms of, yes, this may not be as comfortable in the pocket as the D25C, being a little bit larger. You have this awkward thing going on here, but then you have a flashlight that can be used, you know, in several different ways. You could hold it this way. You could just use the head strap. You could attach it to your load-bearing vest for military guys, because this is MOLLE compatible. You could even, you know, attach it to your front pocket using the clip. You attach it to your front pocket, even the, you know, the neck of your shirt, of your T-shirt, whatever. You could have it this way, like an angle light. You could even like leave it in the floor. Again, the weight mostly concentrated here. You could leave it in the floor using the clip being so wide in different angles. So if you need to put it in the floor so as to focus the light on certain directions, you could even do that. All right. Now the battery compartment is empty, but once you have it there, the weight keeps it in that position without any sort of problem. That is another way in which you could use it. So in spite of being a little bit strange and awkward, it is very functional. It has so many different options. Let's get to it, put a battery inside and see what this flashlight is actually capable of. You have the O-ring there. You have a plastic insert that's a little bit of a secret that we're going to be talking about soon enough. So we get the battery out. Positive first, and you screw it down into place. We already have some information here written. Again, guys, military type of thing, so it has to be pretty straightforward. Button on, off, single click. There it says. Intensity, push and hold for different intensities. Flash, double click. Knob, pull, turn for colors. All right, so you basically have a little manual explained over there. You have the rubber dome here in the top. You just click on it, goes on, click on it again, goes off. Very simple, straightforward. You have the 4 LEDs, which you can access by rotating, pulling, and turning the knob. So you pull the knob up, you rotated it, and once it falls into place, you click on it, you turn it on, click on it again, you turn it off. Keep rotating it. You have the infrared button, which you are going to be able to see thanks to the camera, but the naked eye does not see this kind of light. It's only a light that is visible with night vision goggles. So again, if you are in the military, you're using night vision equipment, you use the infrared one so as to not make your position noticed to others that are not using night vision equipment. You use the infrared. Finally, you have the blue LED, and you keep rotating for the white one. As it says there, you push and hold so as to go through the different modes. 1, 2, 3, 4 modes. Okay, and whenever you turn it off, you turn it on again, it goes back to the low one. That is the maximum brightness. And the same thing happens with all of these modes, with all the different LEDs. Red, you just keep it for different levels of intensity. Same for the infrared one. Again, you just see it through the camera. I'm looking at it right now with a naked eye on the side, and I just cannot see it. Besides that, you also have the strobe mode by double clicking. It's not actually a flash mode. Just double clicking on it, it starts to flash on the maximum intensity. Here's a print from the company itself, from Streamlight, explaining the different outputs and the run times for each one. So the maximum output on the C4 LED, which is the white one, it's officially 55 lumens. Some of the guys in Canal Power Forum have measured it to 60 lumens. All right. In the high maximum output, it is officially 55 lumens, and it's going to be lasting for 6 hours with a CR1238 battery. Now that is officially speaking according to Streamlight. The truth is that if you compare these official 55 lumens to other flashlights, let's just suppose you compare it to our friend here, the Olight i3S EOS, the maximum output is officially, according to the company, 80 lumens. Now, comparing these two, you see what I'm saying? You see what I mean here? The 80 lumens of Olight, it's almost not as bright as the 55 lumens of Streamlight. That is something that happens often with these type of companies, Surefire, Streamlight, especially because they are they have the standards so as to go by military standards. They cannot just claim 100 lumens and be just 80-90%. So they even underestimate the lumens that their products are capable of. Again, something that other companies don't always have to do. So they have different ways of measuring so as to sound as if they have maybe even more lumens. Many of the 300 lumen flashlights out there, many of the 200 lumen flashlights out there are nowhere near the lumen output they claim. All right. Going back to the different runtimes that we have and the different intensities of lumens. The first one we get when turning it on, the basic white light that we have, is officially 10% of the maximum output. Guys at Candle Power Forum have measured it at 5 lumens. Medium 1 is 25 lumens, about 15, medium 1 it's 25% of the maximum output, about 15 lumens. Medium 2 it's 45% at about 23 lumens, high 1, 60. The run times you're getting is, for high, you are getting 6 hours with CR123A batteries, 2 hours only with AA batteries. We're going to be getting into that in a second. For medium 2, for 23 lumens, 16 hours. For medium 1, 15 lumens, 28 hours. And in the low mode, which is the one you're going to be using mostly for general purpose and more ordinary tasks, it's going to be getting 70 hours of runtime at 5 lumens. 5 lumens is going to be enough for you guys to see around a place without much of a problem. When you look at the other colors, let's suppose you have, you notice you have little battery left, and you kind of are worried about running out of light, and you just need to have some form of light whatsoever. You can easily switch to red, and the red LED in the low mode is going to be running for over 100 hours of runtime. All right. 100 hours runtime in low mode for red. Same thing for infrared, same thing for the blue LED as well. So it's a way of squeezing as much power as you can from your flashlight. What is the application you would have for each of these? Well, pretty simple with the white one, the white light. It's of course the one you would be using the most, especially in the low mode. For red, the benefit of the red light is that it's very good on your eyes so as to keep your night vision. So if you are maybe using night vision equipment, or you're maybe hunting, or you're doing some sort of activity that you don't want to compromise your night vision, you use the red light. The white one would make it harder for your eyes to adapt to your natural night vision. Okay, you're not talking about night vision goggles, night vision equipment, about your natural night vision. It is far less compromised when using red. So let's suppose you have to check a map of some sort, or you have to check some equipment of some kind, and you need a little bit of light, but you don't want to compromise or blind yourself with white light. You would just be using the red one. This is very common for guys that do like star watching, astronomy kind of things. They will usually go for that. Besides that, it's the color that is less visible when you want to keep a very low profile. Let's suppose you want to keep a low profile in a military combat situation, or you're just you don't want to alert the game during hunting, or you don't want to alert other people of your location. In those cases, you would be using the low mode in red. Moving on to the blue one, the blue LED. The blue LED light pretty much does the same thing. It is a little bit better in case you have to do, in case you have to see things that are not visible with a red light. Some maps, for example, have writing in red that would not be visible with the red light, even though military maps are red friendly, so they're already designed so as to work and be visible with the red light, so they kind of avoid red markings. But if you happen to have another map that has red lines, the blue one would still allow you to see and not miss those markings. The blue light is also better in terms of seeing red color. So if you're going to be, maybe tracking blood, a game, someone, a wounded animal, a wounded person even, the blue light, it's going to be making red very, very visible. Blood's going to be very visible in blue light. Maybe even for a medical application, someone that's wounded, you will not be able to use the red light because blood and water pretty much will all look the same. You won't see the red color with the red light. With the blue one, you will. Finally, you have the infrared light. And as you see, it has a small knob there for identifying by touch alone your infrared light. This is very important because if you're imagine being in a mission, you have to use your infrared light. You cannot just risk compromising everyone by putting a visible light. So you just feel it with touch. You make sure you have the infrared light forward towards where the LEDs are, and then just by touching it that's okay. You can go with the infrared light. The infrared light in military purposes, military applications, of course, it's so as to be used along with night vision equipment, but it's also so as to make your position noticed to friendly, especially with the United States military. They will quickly identify infrared lights, infrared strobes in general as friendly. Of course, it has to be confirmed through other methods, but in general, if you have an infrared strobe going on, you will probably assume that to be friendly. If someone, if a military team is looking for you, they see the infrared light, it is going to be assumed that much. Mostly because many of the countries where there's conflicts, many of the people that are local don't have that kind of equipment. In general, they will be using more basic, ordinary, visible type of lights. And we move on forward to the type of battery that the flashlight uses. And here is where we have the gravy of this flashlight. One of the things Streamlight noticed was that sometimes people just don't have a CR123A battery with them. So what they ended up doing is making the flashlight compatible with AA batteries as well. So you can just, if you run out of CR123A batteries, you just remove it. You have your ordinary standard AA battery. Put it in place. And that's it. There you go. Infrared, same thing as before. Everything stays the same except for, well, the intensity. You're going to be having a little bit less brightness. Here we have in the high mode with AA, you will just have 2 hours of 55 lumens, 2 hours with a AA battery. And the run times in general are going to be falling a little bit behind, like in half in medium. The thing is, you're still going to be able to use a AA battery without any sort of problem. And this, at least to me, is, it's something that it could be priceless in some circumstances. Okay, the ability to use multiple batteries. And I know that there are some flashlights out there that are supposed to be multi-battery as well. I actually have some of them. Now, in my experience, and I'm pretty sure about this, basically some of the most common ones that take both batteries, both CR123A and AA, some of them come with an extra ring that has to be screwed into place. What happens is that ring is never with you when you need it. No one carries a spare ring part with them along with their flashlight. So chances are you will not have that when you need it. Also, there's a little bit of a problem sometimes with the contact, the current going on. It is a little bit of a gimmick. I think the Gerber Omnivore is supposed to be multi-battery as well, but again, not as reliable, not as good, at least in my opinion, in my experience. This is much better executed. You have the possibility of using both flashlights, both batteries. Now, let's suppose you don't have either one of them. You only have a AAA battery left. Streamlit says you can use these two. It says nothing about using a AAA battery, but we put it into place, doing our best as to kind of align things in there, and we just give it a try to see, and yeah, it does work, you know. So it works with CR123A batteries, it works with AA batteries, it also works with AAA batteries as well. I've tried, you know, when turning it on, tried different things like beating a little bit around, seeing if I get it to come out of place or something. As you see, it's pretty solid. Although this is unofficial, Streamlight says nothing about the flashlight being compatible with AAA batteries. But still, in spite of that not being an official statement, I haven't had any failures with it whatsoever, in spite of, you know, trying to, you know, unlodge it. So I would assume that for some reason it is not officially said that it will work with AAA batteries. Maybe if you hit it very hard, it would fall out of place or something. But as a last resort kind of thing, it is just fantastic that you can use any kind of battery of the most commonly available ones with it. All right, that at least to me is pretty fantastic, and it makes for a kind of versatility that it's simply unmatched as of right now with the kind of things that are available in the market. It's not only just that, it's that it just runs on one battery. Okay, it runs with any kind of one battery that you can come by, and thanks to those different LEDs that you have and the different modes, you could, you know, if you find an old remote and it has a couple of old AAA batteries and it doesn't even work well with a white light, you can easily switch to the low requirements of the low red light, so you'll still be able to see it. It squeezes this little Sidewinder Compact 2 just squeezes the energy out of anything it finds, turns it into light. It's simply amazing to me. And having been through so many blackouts and power outages and such, and places where, you know, batteries are even hard to find, or you don't have anything and you have to scrounge for any kind of battery you can come by, I've learned the hard way that sometimes one is all you have. That's why I've said it so many times that I prefer flashlights that use a single battery. For example, the Petzl is a fantastic little headlamp. It's very bright as well, very well constructed. Maybe not the military standard of the Streamlight, but it's still pretty good. But it uses 3 batteries. It uses 3 AAA batteries. Okay, here with just one, you have a little flashlight that will work. Not only that, it's a flashlight that's adaptable also, so it has to be used as a headlamp, has a fat, nice clip so as to attach it anywhere. You could just put it into an angle, like I said before, so as to put the light into any direction. That is just, at least to me, it is just amazing. My impressions on pocket carrying this flashlight, especially when you're gonna be comparing it to the other flashlights that may be a little bit more easier to carry, like the EagleTac D25C. I will say this: yes, it is handy. It is more compact. It is less of an issue to have this in your pocket than having this. Having said that, I've been carrying it in my pocket for a while now, and even though it's a little bit awkward, I will admit that it is not a problem. It is very light. The shape is a little bit uncomfortable when you first put it in your pocket compared to this one, but you soon get used to it. I mean, in 5'11" type of pants, no problem whatsoever. Those big pockets, I mean, no issue. You put it in your pocket, and at least I forget about it. With jeans, maybe I notice it the first couple of steps I take, or maybe when sometimes when sitting in the car driving, sometimes I barely notice it. It is really not something that would make me leave it behind just because of that. It's not so uncomfortable that you're thinking of leaving it behind. Definitely not. So as my friend, the Daily Prepper, said in my previous video talking about watches and such, he said like, well, if you're a real survivalist, you would have 2 watches. And yeah, I know he was joking and such, but if you're a real prepper, if you're a real modern survivalist, you will understand that you're gonna be you're not gonna be compromising because of a little bit of comfort. Just a little bit of discomfort is not going to be enough for you to go with something you know is less capable. At least that's the way I see it. So I'll be carrying it as my everyday carry light from now on. If I have other impressions or feelings, I will share that with you. But as of right now, it is it's a beast of a flashlight. The things this is capable of doing. I've even made a little head strap, a little mini head strap of my own, because this is a little bit bulky. You could just have this maybe, but maybe too much. What I did was improvise a little head strap of my own, which folds nicely into place and goes under the clip, as seen in a previous video. You just don't even notice that it's in there, and you basically, man, you have a great headlamp in there for whenever you need it. That is just amazing. Price about $70, give or take. It's a little bit pricey, but I think you're getting a ton of a flashlight for your money. Beast of a flashlight. It's going to be taking any kind of abuse you throw its way. And finally, trying to wrap this up, suggestions, if anyone was patient enough with me and happens to work or it's related in any way to Streamlight, 3 suggestions as to make, in my opinion, the perfect flashlight. I would first change the configuration, the form factor here, to the one of a zebra light. Okay, I would move this part, maybe reduce this a little bit here, move this part over here, and the knob over there. Make it a little bit longer, but have a small flashlight with this over here, this over there. That would make it easier for pocket carrying. I mean, I would still keep the clip placed there on the side as well, but moving that there, that here, would make a great form factor. The geometry would be fantastic for pocket carrying, for using it. It would be a good improvement. Finally, second, I would change one of the LEDs, maybe the blue one. I would change maybe the blue one for an ultraviolet light. The ultraviolet light is great for detecting fluids, so that's a possible use. It's great for detecting scorpions and some critters and small animals, spiders and such, which is another use for wilderness type of survival. It has the use of being used for detecting counterfeit money, so it has an urban survival application as well, the ultraviolet light. I've used that myself a lot. I actually had a ultraviolet keychain light for that purpose alone. So that would make a fantastic survival flashlight. Finally, I would maybe make the high mode a little bit higher. Alright, I know that the 55 lumens is comparable to 80 lumens from other companies, that it's great, but maybe make maybe make it a real 100 lumen light, or even a real 80 lumen light for the high mode. The low mode is great as it is. I wouldn't touch anything else. But one final comment about the kind of brightness. I was at first, this is not very bright. It's not only the kind of lumens it has, it's the way in which you use it. All right, it's a point, a little bit hard to explain without showing it, but it has a good throw. That would be the word. It has a good amount of throw for a headlamp. So the throw is pretty fantastic, flies nicely enough so as to see stuff. And remember, your old G2 flashlight, that is still a tactical flashlight, the Surefire G2, This was 65 lumens, guys. So the 55 lumens in the Streamlight Sidewinder 2 is not bad at all. Guys, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this little video. Take care. I'm gonna be leaving the link in Amazon for it. That's so that if you're interested, you can check it out. Take care. Have a great day. See you on our next video.